over 100 Iranian naval vessels allegedly destroyed in less than 3 weeks. That is the extraordinary claim coming out of the United States military right now. And today, we are going to break down exactly what has been reported, what has been verified, what remains contested, and why this story matters for every single person watching this video, whether you care about geopolitics or not. Stay with me because this is genuinely one of the most significant military escalations in a generation, and a lot of what you're seeing online mixes fact, official spin, and outright speculation. By the end of this video, you will know the difference. To understand the 100 vessel claim, you need to understand how this conflict started, because it did not come out of nowhere after the Middle Eastern crisis began in 2023. Iran and Israel exchanged missile strikes in 2024, and Israel and the US launched airstrikes against Iran in the so-called 12-day war in June 2025. That was a preview. A dry run. Tensions never fully de-escalated after that. Then, in January 2026, things took a dramatic turn inside Iran itself. Iranian security forces killed thousands of protesters during the largest protests since the Islamic Revolution. US President Donald Trump threatened to take military action against Iran for the killings. Diplomatically, there were attempts to pull back from the brink. The US undertook its largest military buildup in the Middle East since the US-led 2003 invasion of Iraq, while Iran and the US held indirect nuclear negotiations in February. Oman's foreign minister, who was serving as mediator of the talks, said they made substantial progress, but those talks collapsed or were bypassed entirely. On February 28, 2026, the United States Central Command in Israel launched a massive, coordinated preemptive military campaign against Iran, codenamed Operation Epic Fury by the US and Operation Roaring Lion by Israel. The operation marked the most significant US military action in the Middle East since the Iraq War, executed without a formal address to Congress, beyond a war, powers notification, and a Gang of 8 briefing. President Trump announced the strikes via an 8-minute video on Truth Social at 2 a.m. EST. The stated objectives were to destroy Iran's ballistic missile infrastructure and nuclear program, eliminate IRGC leadership, annihilate Iran's naval capabilities, and neutralize Iranian-backed regional proxies. Regime change, though not formally declared as a goal, was widely understood as the campaign's ultimate ambition. Now, the Trump administration has offered shifting justifications for launching this war. Trump administration officials have offered various and conflicting explanations for the war, such as to ward off an imminent Iranian threat, to preempt Iranian retaliation against US assets after an expected Israeli attack on Iran, to destroy Iran's missile and military capabilities, to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, to secure Iran's natural resources, and to achieve regime change by bringing the Iranian opposition to power. Iran, as well as officials from the Pentagon, rejected claims that Iran had been preparing an attack. That contradiction is worth keeping in mind as we evaluate every claim that follows. Now let's get into the naval campaign, because that's what this video is about. Day 1, February 28th, Operation Epic Fury began at 1:15 Eastern Time on February 28th, 2026. In the first 24 hours of strikes on Iran, American Beta bombers, stealth fighter jets, reconnaissance, aircraft, and other weapons were used to strike more than 1 mil targets. From the very first hours, Iran's naval forces were a top priority. Destruction of the Iranian Navy and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy is a priority of the ongoing Operation Epic Fury, Pentagon officials have said since the start of the operation. Iranian anti-ship missile sites, warships, and submarines were among those prioritized within the first 48 hours. One of the first confirmed naval strikes, U.S. Central Command said an Iranian Yamaran-class corvette was struck by U.S. forces at the beginning of Operation Epic Fury. The ship is currently sinking to the bottom of the Gulf of Oman at a Chabahar pier. The statement read, satellite imagery backed this up. Satellite imagery from Planet and Vanter highlighted the severity of the strikes across the naval bases, including Konarak and Bandar Abbas, showing multiple fires, sunken vessels, and destroyed buildings. Day 3, March 1st, U.S. President Donald Trump announced on Sunday that 9 Iranian naval ships had been sunk as part of combat operations against Iran, writing that Iran's naval headquarters had been largely destroyed in a separate attack, and adding, "We are going after the rest. They will soon be floating at the bottom of the sea." Also notable on that day, a high-profile Iranian, the U.S. military called the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, claimed that it struck the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln with ballistic missiles. A lie. The Lincoln was not hit. The missiles launched didn't even come close, CENTCOM said. The Lincoln continues to launch aircraft in support of CENTCOM's relentless campaign. Both sides, in other words, were making claims the other side denied. Keep that in mind. Day 4, March 2nd to 4th. By March 4th, U.S. officials confirmed 20 Iranian naval vessels, including 1 submarine, were sunk or critically damaged, including the Shahidi Soleimani, a catamaran corvetto, and a Yamaran-class corvette, at Chabahar. Then came a dramatic moment. The first U.S. torpedo attack on a warship since World War II. U.S. forces sank an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean using a single Mk-48 torpedo, the first such action since World War II. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Jen Don Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said during a briefing that ship was the IRIS Dina. The IRIS Dina was hit in international waters just south of Sri Lanka's territorial waters in the early hours of March 4th, local time. Sri Lankan Navy rescuers recovered more than 80 bodies and picked up 32 survivors, reportedly including the commander and some senior officers. More than 100 men are still missing. Day 12, March 10th to 11th. The pace of naval destruction escalated sharply. The U.S. military said on Tuesday it destroyed 16 mine-laying vessels near the Strait of Hormuz. The announcement came after President Trump warned Iran to immediately remove any mines it may have placed in the vital shipping waterway. The U.S. had struck more than 60 Iranian ships, according to U.S. Central Commander Admiral Brad Cooper. Cooper also made a sweeping declaration about one entire class of Iranian warship. According to Military Times, the U.S. had destroyed an entire class of Iranian-guided. The first of the Gdemissel Iranian catamarans were delivered to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy in 2022 and were the first Iranian warships to possess vertical launch systems capable of medium-range surface-to-air missiles, according to the U.S. Naval Institute. Day 16, March 16th, the 100-plus claim the U.S. military has destroyed more than 100 Iranian naval vessels, and we aren't done, the leader of U.S. Central Command said. Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander of CENTCOM, provided an update following the 16th day of Operation Epic Fury in a video posted on X. To date, our Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps aviators have collectively flown more than 6 mil combat flights, Cooper said. The campaign, referred to by U.S. officials as Operation Epic Fury, reportedly includes over 6,500 combat flights targeting Iranian military infrastructure in addition to naval assets. Furthermore, over 7 mil targets have been struck so far. We have destroyed over 100 Iranian naval vessels, and our work is not done yet, Admiral Cooper said. Let's be honest about what we actually know with confidence versus what is officially claimed, but not independently confirmed. Verified, backed by satellite imagery, multiple independent outlets or confirmed by both sides. The war itself began on February 28, 2026. Not contested. Satellite imagery from commercial providers confirmed fires, sunken vessels, and destroyed buildings at Iranian naval bases, including Konarak and Bandar Abbas. The sinking of the IRS Dina near Sri Lanka, confirmed by Sri Lankan rescue operations and reporting from multiple international outlets, including Al Jazeera and Reuters. The U.S. has struck Iranian naval targets across the Persian Gulf of Oman and Indian Ocean. Multiple navies and maritime monitors have corroborated incidents, officially claimed but not independently verified. The specific claim of over 100 vessels destroyed. As Naval Today explicitly noted, there has been no independent verification of the precise number or type of ships destroyed, and Tehran has not released comprehensive details on losses. CENTCOM's claimed that it destroyed an entire class of Iranian catamarans and all 11 ships in the Gulf of Oman within 48 hours, corroborated partially by satellite imagery, but complete destruction is a strong claim that independent analysts have not fully confirmed. Iran's counterclaims that it struck U.S. bases in the UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar with significant damage have also not been independently verified in their full scope. Actively disputed Iran's claim that it hid the USS Abraham Lincoln. The U.S. flatly denies it. The Iranian IRGC's claim of significant damage to U.S. military infrastructure across multiple Gulf states. U.S. officials acknowledge some hits but dispute the severity. Iran insists that it is targeting only U.S. interests in the region. Independent monitoring tells a more complicated story. The bottom line, the scale of Iran's naval losses, whatever the precise number, is large and supported by credible evidence, but the specific figure of 100-plus vessels comes exclusively from U.S. military official statements with no independent count confirmed. In wartime, both sides exaggerate. Both sides claim victories. The truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Let's go through what verified, credentialed fact-checking organizations have actually concluded. Snopes, Times of Israel, and other outlets rated the claim that Netanyahu was killed in an Iranian missile attack as false. Reuters reported that Netanyahu posted a video directly in response to the Iran rumors that he was dead. A fact check from the Palestine Chronicle found that there was no confirmed evidence that Netanyahu was incapacitated or unable to perform his duties. At this stage, publicly available evidence indicated that Netanyahu continued to issue statements through official government channels and social media. Iranian officials had threatened the Israeli prime minister but had not confirmed having targeted or harmed him. Online claims about AI-generated videos remained unverified. On the evening of March 2nd, Netanyahu appeared on Fox News in a live interview addressing the regional conflict. During the broadcast, he stated that the war with Iran would not be an endless war and emphasized Israel's objective of neutralizing nuclear threat. Live interviews during an international broadcast cycle effectively debunked the hospitalization or death rumors at that stage. The Israeli ambassador to India, Ruvan Azar, confirmed that Netanyahu is alive and involved in military discussions and strategy. Netanyahu's office has been direct in its response. A statement confirmed the prime minister is well and described the death rumors as false. Grok confirmed Benjamin Netanyahu is alive and active as Israel's PM. He issued public statements as recently as March 12, 2026, and continues leading operations in the ongoing Israel-Iran conflict. Every time we talk about military operations, we have to talk about the human costs on all sides. On the U.S. side, 13 service members had been killed as of Friday, March 14th, including 6 in the crash of a KC-135 refueling aircraft. Since Operation Epic Fury began, roughly 140 troops have been wounded, 8 severely, the Pentagon announced. 7 service members had been killed in action so far at that point. 6 died when an Iranian one-way attack drone struck a makeshift operations center at a civilian port in Kuwait on March 1st. Another service member died on March 8th after succumbing to injuries sustained when Iran attacked Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia. Iran has also struck U.S. air assets at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. Iranian missiles damaged 5 USAF Volskayshi 135 Stratotanker refueling aircraft on the flight line. The Pentagon confirmed the tankers were damaged but not destroyed, with 4 returning to service quickly and 1 requiring additional repairs. On the Iranian side, civilian casualties have been significant. At least 201 people had been killed and more than 700 injured across Iran, according to the Iranian Red Crescent Society, and that figure dates from early in the conflict. More recent reporting suggests much higher numbers. The U.S. reportedly used double-tap airstrikes to maximize casualties. That claim, sourced from the Wikipedia summary of the conflict, is itself disputed and worth flagging as contested. The political fallout inside the U.S. is also worth noting. The GOP-led Senate rejected a war powers resolution aimed at restricting President Trump's ability to carry out further military action against Iran. The vote was 47 to 53, short of the simple majority needed to move the resolution to the Senate floor. Sen. John Fetterman of Pennsylvania was the only Democrat to join Republicans in voting no, while Sen. Rand Paul of Kentucky was the only Republican to join Democrats in voting yes. Given the scale of the air campaign, 6 mil plus sorties, 100 plus naval vessels destroyed. Operation Epic Fury has already surpassed the opening phases of most post-Cold War U.S. military campaigns in intensity, and yet it is far from over. More than 2 mil Marines and at least 1 warship are headed from the Pacific to the Middle East. One U.S. official, speaking on condition of anonymity, told the Associated Press that roughly 2,500 Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli have been ordered to deploy. Iran, for its part, still retains capabilities. Iran's ballistic missile capacity is functionally destroyed, and its navy has been assessed as combat ineffective, according to the White House. Yet on Monday afternoon, Qatar announced it had intercepted the latest in a series of missiles fired from Iran towards the country. That gap between functionally destroyed and still firing tells you everything about the limits of official military claims. And it's a useful lens through which to evaluate the 100 vessel number as well. Let me bring this home. We are living through one of the most dangerous and information-saturated conflicts the Middle East has seen in modern memory. Real people are dying. Real missiles are flying. Real decisions with generational consequences are being made in bunkers and war rooms. And in the middle of all of that, the rumor that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu died in an Iranian strike has spread to hundreds of millions of people. The verdict? Based on all available, verified evidence. This is a rumor. It is false. Netanyahu is alive. But the reason we made this video isn't just to debunk a conspiracy theory. It's to slow you down, to show you the mechanics of how a rumor is born, a missed cabinet meeting, a silent social media account, a canceled diplomatic visit, a hand that catches light in a weird way, and how, in wartime, those ordinary events get assembled into an extraordinary claim. The next time you see a viral claim about a world leader during a crisis, ask yourself, who benefits from this story? What is the primary source? Has it been verified by multiple independent organizations? And has the government in question actually been given a chance to respond? Verifying sources, checking official statements, and understanding how digital manipulation works are now essential skills for anyone following global news in 2026. We live in the deep fake era. That doesn't mean everything is fake. It means we have to be more careful, more patient, and more rigorous than ever before. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and we'll see you in the next one.